Hello everyone, welcome to Indomitable Tech. I am your AIML consultant Shaunak, and this is the very first video in our series for Python for beginners. So by beginners, I mean those who have never ever touched coding. So we'll be seeing how to code using Python. So this video series is aimed at non-technical professionals, those who work with finance, HR, admin, and so on. So basically for non-coders. So the reason why I decided to create this particular playlist is some of my friends who are working in finance and HR, they requested me to make a video that will help them teach Python. So their day-to-day processes which they are currently doing through Excel, so those processes can be automated, and believe me, they are definitely we can definitely automate such processes, because I myself used to work in data analysis in the past, and I used to spend around 5 days working on a task using Microsoft Excel to complete such task, which I was earlier taking 5 days was getting executed within 10 seconds after using Python. So this was one example of the many advantages that you get by after learning Python. So this is not just limited to technical, non-technical, as in finance, admin. So even in medical field, some of the doctors have learned Python, and they are also using Python to automate their task, like scheduling the shift timings for the nurses and the doctors. So basically it will make your life easier if you learn Python. And also with the advent of artificial intelligence and machine learning, Python will definitely help you make use of such other packages and libraries down the line in the future. So for those who do not know what is Python, so I have created this notebook. So the introduction is: Python is an interpreted, object-oriented, high-level programming language with dynamic semantics. So I know most of you might not heard of these concepts. So basically Python is an interpreted language. So there are three types of languages. So one is getting executed right on the writing of the code. So Python is an interpreter, so it will interpret all the code once the file gets executed. So it will all the lines of code will get processed one after the other. Then it is object oriented programming language. So I have an entire video created around object oriented programming, so which is the last video in the series, object oriented programming. This helps in making the code very much modular and versatile, so it can be, the reusability of the code is increased. And high level programming, so basically high level programming is you just have to worry about writing the logic, the rest of the code, how it performs at the base level, you don't have to worry about that. And dynamic semantics, so dynamic, basically there are two types of coding languages. So like Java is not a dynamic language, so you have to define the data type of the code that you are typing. So let's say integer, so you have to first define the variable as integer in Java. If you are writing, let's say you want to assign the value 2 to a variable, so in Python you can assign that to a value, to a variable 2, and you can convert that variable to a string as well. But you cannot do the same thing in non-dynamic languages, because you have to first define the data type of that language, of that particular variable, and then pass in the value to that particular variable. But in Python you can convert string to an integer or a float, provided the string is a number. And similarly you can do number to integer, also convert boolean to string or boolean to number. So basically you can convert data from one type to another, and you can also assign multiple values one after the other to the same variable. So hence Python is a dynamic language. So Python is simple, easy to learn. It has easy to learn syntax and emphasizes readability, and therefore reduces the cost of program maintenance. And Python supports modules and packages. So Python has a vast array of modules and packages which are developed by others, but which are readily available on the internet. So there is a strong community support to Python. Also, if you have any questions, or if you are stuck anywhere using Python, you can easily search it on Google, and on Stack Overflow or any other similar website you will definitely get answer to such questions. So far I haven't encountered an issue with Python where I am stuck and the internet does not have answer for that. So it has a good community support, and also various different types of libraries are built in Python, so you don't have to write the code from scratch. There are already packages and modules for such activities, for machine learning, data science, data visualization, API creation. So all these packages are already existing, you just have to make use of these packages. Then usage, where all it is used in graphics. So example is Turtle graphics. I have also seen some videos where they have used Python to develop 3D games as well. Then UIX support, UI is user interface, and user experience support. So using tkinter you can create such software and applications which using Python. So tkinter is a library basically, and using that you can create such software where the user can interact with that particular UI to get his or her task accomplished. Then to create REST API, you can use Fast API, Flask RESTful. There are also other libraries in Django as well, like Django REST framework. And you can also use request library and any other libraries which help you with consuming the APIs as well. What are APIs? So APIs are basically used to send the data to and fro from one point to another in JSON or XML format. So web development, so using Flask, Django, and there are other libraries as well using which you can develop web-based applications or even websites. Then data management, to deal with database like SQL Alchemy, or there are libraries such as PsychoPG2 to deal with Postgres SQL. So basically to deal with database, so you have to write the code in Python and it will be interpreted as an SQL query. So what is SQL? It is structured query language. SQL is used to interact with databases. Then for scientific calculations, using libraries such as NumPy or SciPy. NumPy is numeric Python, SciPy is scientific Python. You don't have to worry about this, I am just telling the usages of Python. I won't be discussing all these advanced stuff in this playlist, but if you refer to my machine learning playlist, there are some libraries used like NumPy, Pandas for machine learning purposes. Then for data engineering, data analysis, data science, Python is used because Python is basically very flexible and versatile language. So it has good library support, so it is easier to code and make use of the functionality of Python packages for data science, data analysis, and data engineering. So this matplotlib, this is a library. This is used for data visualization. Pandas is used for creating data frames. So similar to Python, Pandas, there is PySpark and Polar as well, which helps in data wrangling. We will see that in different playlists that I'll be creating around data science and ultimately AIML. So these are not only the existing usages, but there are multiple other usages where Python is being used. These are just few of the usages which I have mentioned. So TensorFlow, PyTorch, sklearn, so all these libraries are written in Python. So you make use of Python to make use of these libraries and implement your machine learning algorithms. So TensorFlow, PyTorch is basically used in deep learning, and this sklearn is predominantly used in machine learning. Then let's see the course content of this playlist. So in the first notebook, I'll be focusing on how to install Python on your local setup. Local is your computer that you are using. So we'll be focusing on how to install Anaconda and make use of the Jupyter notebook in that Anaconda. So the UI, that is the user interface, the screen that you are seeing, so this is called a notebook inside this Jupyter. So this is a Jupyter notebook. So we'll see how to install the Jupyter notebook, and then we'll see how to install Python and also how to create virtual environment. So that will be in video number 1, notebook 1. In video number 2, we'll see data types, variables, and constants. So in Python, all the values and variables and the objects that you will be seeing in. So at the very grassroots levels, so these are nothing but data types like string, integer, float, dictionary, tuples, list, etc. So we will be taking a look at that, and then the methods related to the data types. So string has several methods attached to it, integer has methods attached to it, float, list, tuples, dictionary. So these have methods attached to it. So we'll be taking look at the methods attached to this. Then notebook number 4, video number 4 consists of operators and conditional statements. So if you want to write a script or logic, so which needs to be accomplished based upon certain conditions, like let's say if it rains today, then I will go to play. So basically if and else statement. So such things are covered in this notebook number 4. Then loops. So suppose you have a particular thing which needs to get executed over and over again based upon a certain condition. So like every morning, if it is not raining, so if it is not raining, this is a condition, then I will go out for a walk. So this will be covered under the while loop. Similarly, if there is a list, iterable means repeating one after the other. So if there is a list from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and if I am going to go for a walk on alternate days, so I can loop over that particular list of days. So if it is Sunday, then I will walk, Monday I will not walk, Tuesday I will go for a walk, then so similarly over every alternating days I will go for a walk. So I am looping over the days. So that will be look under this video in for loops. Then functions make our code modular. So how to write functions, will be focusing on this notebook number 6, video 6. So this will help in reducing the coding effort that you put in. Then how to read files, as in text files, then Excel files, CSV files, because if you are currently making use of Excel and CSV files and going to write different different methods, activities on your Excel file, and ultimately if you are going to use Python to do that, you have to also write the file back using Python. So how to read the files, how to write the files, we'll be focusing on that in this book number 7, video 7. And ultimately book number 8, object oriented programming. So object oriented programming is nothing but creating an object and writing various methods and attributes around that particular object. So it helps in making the code modular and also increases the reusability of the code. So that we will be taking look at in notebook number 8. So at the end of this particular playlist, a person who is working in HR or finance, she should be able to at least start automating few of his or her tasks using Python. At the end of the playlist, I will also be creating a playlist for data science and data analysis. So the tasks which you are currently doing, like if you are reading some data from a file, from a list of files, or of trying to find some words or sentences in a particular file and only using those particular files and copy pasting them elsewhere, or reading only certain files and copy pasting them elsewhere, or if you are processing some data in Excel or CSV and saving that particular file, and so basically all these functions which can be done in Python. So I'll be creating one videos based upon such use cases. So I hope you will be joining me for this journey into learning Python. Also it will be always easier for you to, if you know any particular coding language, and Python is quite popular. It is, I think, one of the top 3 most used and learnt languages, because most of the coding which is being done in machine learning, and the high level coding which is being done in machine learning and data science, that is being done in Python, because it has quite a huge libraries available for it. One thing to note while going through the different videos is that I have made use of several examples and I have implemented code for every such examples and concepts in Python. So it is in detail, so the time for some videos might be more because there are more concepts and more examples which I have implemented. But if you go through those examples and concepts, so I am pretty sure you will be able to understand them and implement them yourself, because I have written each line of code to help you understand every example and concepts in Python that we will be discussing in the due course. And I'll see you in the next video where we'll be installing Anaconda Python and creating a virtual environment. That's all for this video. I hope you'll be joining me in the next video. This was Shaunak signing off. Bye.